Good afternoon. It's great to see all of your smiling faces today. My name is Daryl Knox. I'm a CPA and I'm a partner with the Aldrich CPAs and Advisors. I also have the pleasure of serving as the board chair for the Strategic Economic Development Corporation, also known as SEDCOR. At SEDCOR, we work together with public and private partnerships to advance the economic vitality of Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties. We believe the health of our economy is one of the cornerstones of a healthy community. The people of a community cannot thrive if they do not have a safe place to live and work, and government cannot provide essential public services without the tax dollars that are generated from businesses, their owners, and their employees. Sometimes the relationship between public agencies and private businesses becomes adversarial, and it just really doesn't make sense to me. Because as I look out at this room and I think of so many of the local businesses and local business leaders, I'm reminded how much you care about your employees and how much you care about the people in your communities. How generously you invest your time and your resources in the welfare of your people. How generously you support local nonprofits and churches, and how generously you support our state and local governments. You have good hearts and good intentions. Your businesses are the economic engine that drives our region, and we want to help you be successful for the greater good of our community. As a community, we need to come together to remove the barriers and obstacles to the success of our local businesses, rather than creating new and difficult challenges. Our staff at SEDCOR are working every day to help local businesses succeed for the benefit of the entire community. I'm excited about our program today. We have the Marion County Commissioners with us to address the state of the county. We appreciate the partnership that SEDCOR has with Marion County. We appreciate your willingness to come and present to our forum lunch today. We would also not be able to put on an event like this without generous sponsors and volunteers. So I'd like to mention our two title sponsors, Oregon State Credit Union and Portland General Electric, if you could give them a hand. I would also like to recognize CSC Onion for the great lunch that we had, for Broadway Commons for providing this space, and for CCTV who's doing the broadcasting today. Let's give them a hand. There's quite a number of elected officials here in the room today, so rather than naming each one of them, if you all could stand and be recognized, please. We appreciate your service. Thank you. So I'd first like to introduce our first title sponsor. It's Patrick Schmerber, who's the branch manager for Oregon State Credit Union. If you could come up, please, and say a couple words. Please welcome Patrick.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Schmerber. I am a branch manager at Oregon State Credit Union at our Woodburn location, where we recently just moved into a brand new, beautiful building at the end of January to help serve our membership in that area a little better. I started with the credit union in 2007 as a financial services consultant, and later when the opportunity arose was promoted to assistant branch manager in 2013 and branch manager in 2017. Credit unions in the United States were brought about by an act of Congress in 1934 with the expressed purpose to promote savings and to assist people of lesser means in obtaining credit. In other words, credit unions are meant to serve the underserved of the financial services industry. Oregon State Credit Union was founded by Bob Coyle, who was an associate professor of agriculture at Oregon State University. He started the credit union with $25 in a shoebox at his office at Snell Hall. Since then, we've grown in size significantly and now serve over 119,000 members in our 24 counties in Oregon that we serve. Oregon State Credit Union has 15 branch locations. Our newest location opened in November at McMinnville, and most recently, of course, my branch that opened at the end of January. Oregon State Credit Union's vision is to create financial solutions to make lives better. That, paired with our values of integrity, passion, education, member-focused, cooperative spirit, and social responsibility, guide the way that we serve our members in all of our locations, as well as how we support the community in the areas we serve. Last year, Oregon State Credit Union invested back into the community $211,000, affecting 179 nonprofit organizations and schools in the areas we serve. On top of that, we had 50 grants that were issued for a total of $15,000 to Oregon teachers to support community education and classroom programs in their schools. Oregon State Credit Union has its own community education department that has given 297 different classes on financial education, affecting over 7,500 individuals in 2019 alone. The credit union also has shred days where we promote sustainability by collecting shred from all of our areas, and we collected 67,000 pounds of shred in 2019 as well. Oregon State Credit Union strives to serve its membership in the best way possible to create an unsurpassed member experience with every individual we help and every community that we serve in our region. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk with you, and with that, I'll pass it back to you, Daryl. Thank you.
Our second sponsor is Portland General Electric, and we're pleased today to have Maria Pope, who is the president and CEO of PGE, here today. So let me welcome her to the stage.
Good afternoon. Daryl, thank you. It is a true honor and pleasure to be with all of you here today. We deeply appreciate the partnership that we have with the Strategic Economic Development Corporation and with Marion County. We're delighted to sponsor today's 2020 State of the County event, and we appreciate the opportunity to connect with all of you and your vision for the county and the cities that you all serve. And it's great fun to be able to celebrate Marion County. As we look to 2020, we're excited about kicking off our second phase of the East Salem District Street Lighting Project. Many of you probably know that we've put in 350 new streetlights and have another 180 planned for this next year. Please know, we heard from you loud and clear how important these streetlights are to the community and to public safety. Thank you, Commissioners, for your leadership and for your partnership. In 2020, PGE will continue to work with Marion County and with SEDCOR on business growth, including the Mill Creek Corporation Center and the Woodburn I-5 Logistics Center. We understand that when our communities thrive, we all succeed. We also know that a strong community is one that is safe and resilient. And that's why for the past 6 years, we have greatly appreciated the work we've done with Marion County and the City of Salem as project partners on the PGE Smart Power Center. This simulation smart grid project combines energy storage, dispatchable generation, remotely controlled line switches, all working together to be able to increase the amount of renewable energy that we serve you, our customers, reliably and affordably. Finally, the energy industry is going through dramatic transformation. I've worked at Portland General Electric for about a dozen years, and I can tell you that in the past year to 18 months, I've seen more change in our customers' expectations than in my prior first decade. Customers are expecting more of us in terms of reliability, resiliency. Safety, of course, remains a #1 priority for us. But they want to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our planet, for our communities, and for generations to come. So it's really important that we're delivering increasing amounts of clean energy to all of you and affordably. Public-private, community-based partnerships are essential to our joint success, and opportunities for new clean energy economy are truly limitless. We've just been talking about some of those today. We're grateful for your partnership, and I'm excited to see what will come from the next decade ahead as we go through this transformation together. Thank you. Now, PGE's own Wendy Valise tells me that we have a special opportunity to recognize Commissioner Brentano's public service of over 4 decades. You're a little skeptical. Commissioner Brentano served as, if you could see the face I could see right now, Commissioner Brentano has served as a successful business leader, a volunteer firefighter, EMT, mayor of Sublimity, and Marion County Commissioner. And Wendy tells me that you have quite a bit of fishing to work on in terms of your technique. I may be getting myself or Wendy in trouble. I'm honored to introduce to you Marion County Commissioners, but first, let's please give a warm celebration and applause for Commissioner Brentano. So we all know living in Oregon is a small community, and many of us have lived here, and our families have lived here for generations. I should also tell you a little secret. Wendy's brother is married to the commissioner's sister. So let me first introduce Chair Willis. No need to introduce Commissioner Brentano. Commissioner Cameron. Chair Willis was elected to the Board of Commissioners in 2018 and focuses his attention on housing, homelessness, and health care. Commissioner Brentano was elected in 2004, and here it comes, re-elected in 2008, 12, 16, and his focus is on energy management and transportation issues. And lastly, Commissioner Cameron was elected in 2014 and re-elected in 2018. He focuses on public safety and issues impacting North Santiam Canyon. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage. Thank you.
Wendy, I can attest. I've been in his boat a couple of times and actually caught some fish. Yeah. Taught me how to bobber fish and some other things. So we are going to miss Commissioner Brentano as he goes off into retirement, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with you. I want to thank SEDCOR for all the work that you do throughout the Tri-County area. I want to thank obviously PGE. Maria, thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you here with us, and for the Oregon State Federal Credit Union. And there's a flyer on your table if you want to take a look at it. You can tell why Oregon State sponsors this. There's 2 of us in orange at the fair this year. And they put that picture on there as kind of a joke, and I said, no, leave it on there, because we're always in suit and ties, and sometimes we like to have fun, so great. Take that with you. So all of us here, and I think all of us in this room, put the first priority of our government as public safety. And we spend over 70% of our general fund on public safety in Marion County. Our sheriff is here, our DA is here, our juvenile department, the jail, all those things take general fund dollars to make them happen. And we spend our priority dollars go towards keeping you safe and our community safe. But Marion County continues to be a leader in the programs that we implement. You give us tax dollars, and Daryl's always says this is the time of year when things, but it's November for us, right? that you give us tax dollars, and we really take that seriously to be as efficient as possible and to help keep you safe, as well as change lives that need help in their life. So there's a lot of those programs that I could go through, but one of them that I wanted to share with you today is our LEAD, which stands for Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. And I see Josh shaking his head over there. And we're going to see a little video that shows you, demonstrates to you some of the really good things that are happening in just this one program.
This is the first time in 3 years we were able to celebrate my daughter's birthday in our own home.
I just started a new job. I'm living in a studio apartment, and I've been clean and sober for 5 months.
I'm so thankful for the program because at least now I have a fighting chance.
I used to hate the officer who was going to arrest me, but now I am thankful for him.
Why don't you kind of tell us at first what your first experience with us, or at least me, with Salem Police? Do you remember the first time we met and when we were here?
I think it was at the skate park.
Mm-hmm.
I think we met once, and I think I had a warrant at the time, or I was smoking at the park or doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And then not shortly after that, I believe you and a couple other officers hogtied me.
So it's kind of surprising to me that we get to sit here side by
Right.
side after having that sort of an experience.
Yeah.
But honestly, a lot of that has to do with the LEAD program, and I'm excited about kind of talking about that and finding out what worked for you and what didn't work for you. A couple years later, I had arrested you a few more times, and then finally, the most recent contact we had, and the last time we talked, was when you were picked up on another charge at a store downtown. And so for that, during that incident, me and Officer Merritt were talking with you, and it was just clear that you were very clear-headed and you were kind of fed up with where you were at.
After we met, what you did for me, so I got busted shoplifting, right? And what you and the program did for me was took me shopping, which was the biggest thing that started to like really make me trust you and feel like, hey, maybe not all cops and not all of this is bad.
Well, yeah, because I remember asking, because we go through these questions, and it was like, okay, so you got busted for shoplifting. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how can we make it so that this doesn't happen again? And you're like, well, I need some clothes. And it was like, okay, let's just eliminate that, so then you don't have to do that, right?
I don't think I've ever really had anyone do that for me, and it was just like, I guess part of me feels like, or felt like I had been through so much and like the system hadn't been there for me, you know what I'm saying? So now for them to like finally come through, I guess, and like I felt like it was the whole LEAD program, like it was Marion County buying me clothes, not just Josh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like timing is a factor. Like, I have to get you at the time when you're fed up with that life and you're willing to do anything to move away from it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. Yeah, I wasn't ready before at all. And at that point, I had for a year almost been trying to get into a treatment center and trying to get clean, but not really wanting to yet, you know, but knowing that I was sick of life.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, it seems like for me, as I think back to all of our interactions and going to court and all of that, it was like once you were like, I'm doing this, there was nothing that was gonna stop you.
What about us presenting LEAD to you was appealing?
I think it was, I just saw it as like a chance, as an opportunity, as like, you know, a crack in the door that could be open to so much more. I was just ready to be done with that life, and just to see that someone else saw that maybe I could do more, you know, meant the world to me.
How intriguing and interesting, and then also kind of crazy was it for you that it was Officer Smith, right? that was giving you that open door for so much more in life, but it's the same guy that has arrested you and had interactions with you all of those times, but yet you just got done saying that, I mean, basically, him and Officer Merritt gave you that open door.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? Like, what is that like for you?
It blows my mind, like that, because we were talking today about a change in perspective, how like you blame the people who arrested you or who've done that, and those are the bad guys, right, and stuff. And in reality, though, like those can really be the good guys, and they can really save your life. Like they're not just out to get you. It's like a complete 360. It's crazy.
This is cool, and the really cool thing too is that because of the work that she's doing and has done, it really does pave the way moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, for the LEAD program here in Marion County, the success stories like yours are what does drive, because when then he's having conversations with his coworkers, he has this, no, it's for real. And so it's huge, and it's so encouraging.
So tell me a little bit about what your life looks like now.
I went to inpatient, and then I graduated successfully, and I've never graduated anything, intensive outpatient. And then I had back surgery, which was huge, and dealt with being on the pain pills, and still managed to stay clean from that.
Nice.
I just celebrated a year clean.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Didn't think that was possible. It wouldn't have been possible without you guys. And then I'm living in a Portland Sober Living Company right now, and I'm also assistant manager at the Portland Sober Living Company. So
No way.
I UA people now.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've had some other jobs as well, too, right?
Oh yeah, and I work full time too.
You work full time
Yeah.
too, on top of all that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Perfect.
We have some of our lead navigators here today. Would you just stand, Josh? Thank you. And you noticed in the video, that was a Salem police officer. The mayor's here with us. Marion County works with many jurisdictions, and in the LEAD program, we have some of our sheriffs that are trained in it, Salem PD. I believe we're even working towards Woodburn now. We have 4 navigators that are really making a difference. You see the intensity of what it takes to help somebody change their life around. And all of us here have probably had somebody that's entered into our life at some point in time to make a difference. And I just want to say thank you to Officer David Smith and Josh Lair and McKenna for participating in that video. But it wouldn't happen without the partnership that we have with our district attorney, Paige Clarkson, and Joe, our sheriff, Chief Cherry Moore, and our health department to make all that happen. And I also see Tim Murphy in the back here that helps with a lot of the addiction treatment here in our community. So Tim, thank you for what you do as well. Following up on the public safety system, we started a East Salem Public Safety Service District, and I think you heard Maria Pope talk about the lights that are going in East Salem. We are also right now up to almost full capacity. I think next month we'll have 10 new sheriff's deputies that just patrol the East Salem area, the unincorporated area. If you incorporated East Salem, it would be 3rd or 4th largest city in Marion County. And those people are going to have police-type deputies that are going to be helping them. Okay, moving on. I just left the crazy house before the Capitol. Bill, don't print that. I know you've printed some other things that I've said, but go ahead and print it. I don't, have to say what it is. I just left the Capitol before I came here, and we have pretty much 4 legislative priorities that we're following over there in the building this second. One is community corrections funding, again, public safety. We're asking for about $25 million. We came up $50 million short through the state in the last biennium, and that was probably a result of the the death of Senator Winters, who was always our champion, and it just slipped through the cracks. We're working on Court Care, which is a program where people who have domestic violence issues or whatever, they're trying to get get to the court, but they have a place to babysit to their kids. That's a priority for us. Aid and assist with the state hospital. It's a issue that's really complicated, but we're working on that. And then the last, and the reason I was there, is some renewable energy credits for our waste to energy facility. And then I'm going to close with economic development. Our top priorities in the state are the Donald Aurora interchange. I don't know how many of you have driven that lately, probably at 5 o'clock or in the morning, and it backs up onto the freeway. We're working with ODOT. I'll be going back to Washington, D.C. Commissioner, and I have done that before. Broadband throughout the county, as well as in the canyon, as a top priority. Sewer project in the canyon. Our economic development staff is continuing to work on that because that canyon will not grow and develop unless we have broadband and a proper sewer system. Detroit Lake Marinas, trying to help them with their dredging project to work during the low water years. And then we had the best thing that topped off our economic development here in Marion County in 2019. Everything else stopped. It was the opening of In-N-Out Burger. And I'll tell you, we have a celebrity here with us today. And I think I know him pretty well. His name is Gene Cameron. And Dad, would you stand, please? I love this man, but he was 16 years old at the original In-N-Out Burger in Baldwin Park, California, 71 years ago. So you can, his age, he's 87, and he was here at this opening at In-N-Out Burger, and he's been at every one of them here in Oregon since they've opened. And he just showed me today when I walked in, he says, look, they just sent me a $25 gift card from the home office. It's like, thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. This is a hard thing to have to do, stand in front of you and just start apologizing right off, but it's just like when I was in high school and I didn't get my homework done, much similar. And just like then, it wasn't my fault. So here's what happened. I wrote a draft of my speech up, and I sent it to a little IT company in Midwest to see if they could edit it, maybe some ideas, and then I wasn't hearing from them, and it got clear into yesterday, last night, nothing. I'd call it busy. So finally, phone rang, young woman answered, she says, Commissioner Brentano, and I let that slide, by the way, it's Brentano, and she said, I'm so sorry, but you may not have known this, but we had the contract to tabulate the results from the Iowa caucus. She says it's just been a disaster here, and I hope you understand. I said, no, I'm getting real nervous. I don't know what to say tomorrow. And then she said, well, that reminds me, the analysts looked at your paper, and they want to see if they could just keep it to give evidence that we were hacked, that this whole thing wasn't our fault. And I said, what does my speech have to do? Well, it says right here, disjointed sentences, misspelling. I said, no American citizen would write that. I said, just send me what you have. It's a disaster. So here we go. Last one of 17. I'm going to start with talking about one of the big changes in the county this last year, and many of you were here. I see so many familiar faces. John Latimer's retiring after 16 years, and the assistant CAO, Jen Fritz, taking over. And I'm happy to report, and like I thought it would, there was no missed beat. Just continued on. I do worry a little bit, talk to her. She's doing it all by herself. She says she's fine. There's nobody that works harder for Marion County and knows more of Marion County than Jan Fritz. So would you mind just give her a little thanks for all this extra work and appreciate her? I think I know the county pretty well. I won't spend too much more time here, but anything I have, I go to her, and she knows what the program is, where the funding source, the requirements, measurements, who's there. It just kills me. And I kind of know the general department. She knows. So the other thing this year, we finished, and I talked about it last, we finished the updates to just about all of our facilities. The new juvenile administration building was cut the ribbon just a couple of weeks ago. It's great, gives a place for our kids to get taken care of here in Marion County. And if you knew what the other one was, it's such an upgrade. We still have a little bit of a fight. I want to knock that thing into the ground. I'm afraid somebody in the county is going to want to try to do something with it, but then you put all that money into it and you still have nothing. Yeah, Jan, you're always right, but say goodbye. That building's got to go. Kevin, on these facilities, again, I'm proud. Well, we did this all within cash flows that we have, taking advantage of low interest rates and good times. And I think we've set the county up for, I would say, a couple decades without having to look at them again. And that's more than just a claim. I think that's true. Kevin kind of mentioned a garbage burner a little bit. So tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock at the chamber, we're kind of having a little debate about the future. We need this legislation to get these credits we need to make the whole program work. I hear from the opponents kind of a funny argument. It goes basically like this, that with the burner, CO2 goes up into the air all at one time, but if you haul it to the landfill, then it trickles out over time, and that's much better. Same amount of carbon. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm struggling with it. We'll be arguing about that tomorrow. I spent a lot of time on transportation, and I have to tell you again, last year with the third bridge, river crossing in Salem, not going further. I take that the biggest loss of my political career, if I can call it that. I still haven't gotten over it. I told you I would look and see what Marion County could do if there's some other alternative, and I did that. I met with our Public Works Director, Brian Nicholas. Lonnie, perhaps you were there, but anyway. And there is a spot at Wheatland. It could work. It costs a lot of money. The county could do it, but it just doesn't work. I started getting calls, letters, emails from the farmers that it would affect, and then it reminded me, we've been fighting this for decades of not letting other areas use Marion County to make easy access to the freeway and rip up and divide our farm grounds and stuff. So I'm just pulling all back, and I'm going to go back and say that place, that plan that we had to have it in Salem is still the best one. Now, I'm told if all the entities agree that it can be revived, so that's where I'm going to concentrate my effort, and I'm sorry if it gets critical to Salem. It's either going to take a change of the parties there or a change of their attitudes, but that's what we have to work on. Donald was mentioned. What Kevin didn't talk about that I'm excited, I told you it was moving last year. Usually these projects, they take decades, like Woodburn. It's 20 years before they finally see some real movement. And I felt that Donald was, and it is. They've already approved and will start construction in 2022 of the first phase. And it's about $30 million, makes it a whole lot better. But the ingrate that I am, now you start nagging for more. They broke it into phases, and that's normally real good because you can do a little bit of a time and work towards getting the whole thing. But here's the rub. If you did it all at once, it would take 1-2 year window. They'd do it all at one time. So the interruptions to the freeway, the east-west flow, and as we know, when things are done earlier, it saves money. You put it off. And my other fear is if you break it into phases, put it off, you never do it. So we risk having it interrupted for a decade or so, more money, and there's a little bit of savings because if you plan it all as one project, you don't have to do interim things like stoplights that you won't use. So Kevin's going to go back there and find that money for him, and next year he'll report on it, and you'll say he's great. And he is, but close to Donald, and as a result of the Newburgh-Dundee not being finished, I told you we didn't want traffic being dumped across Marion County, and by Newburgh-Dundee bypass not being a complete project, that's just what's happened. And they're dumping across North County. And what do we have, 10, 12 deaths in a 12-month period? We did everything we could think of. There's reflectors and rumble strips and bigger signs and cleared brush and lighting. And I thought maybe we were on top of it. Then 2 weeks ago, there's 3 They weren't all fatal, but 3 very serious accidents in 4 days. And I frankly had enough. I get blamed. I'm from St. Paul, Woodburn. What are you going to do about it? It's like it's your fault. Well, here's my plan. And even I don't like it, and you probably won't either, but we have the ability, and Public Works and the board is working on it, to declare safety corridors. And in those, you can limit speed, raise fines, increase enforcement. Oh, we have done it. That was the other thing I should mention, enforcement. The sheriff tells me the enforcement's doing a good job. Tell me the number, I'm wrong, but they're not citing people anymore over 100. It's down to 80 as a regular event now. Is that correct? So these roads are way 80 miles an hour. Here's what I want our corridor to look like. 45 miles an hour from Newburgh to the freeway. Heavily enforced, double fines. And you think, why? That doesn't sound like you, Sam, to make it harder for people to get. Well, people are dying and I'm fed up with it. And it's the only thing, what I want to happen, where's my Yamhill County friends? I'm sorry. But I want anybody from Newburgh, Dundee to think, you know, if I want to get to the freeway, that's such a hassle to go that way. I'm going to go on 99 like I need to or find another route and get them off roads and facilities that aren't set up for it. So we're going to push that. One little thing on, we put roughly $4.5 million. I just met with Lonnie Radke, our new engineer, like $4.5 million on our roadways. And that's a pretty good average number for what we do in a year. Next year is talking about being 12, so you can see there's going to be some real activities. On the handout is you can see some of the space. It's a little hard to see, but we're really going to be active. But one thing we've done to make things go further is what we call joint contracting, and basically we let cities join in our roadwork contracts, and it's well, Keith Campbell, city manager of Staten, told us that it increased the surface they covered by 50%. So that's pretty major. And Brian says that even Marion County saved 20%. So trying to do more with the same amount of money I love those kind of things. We're going to invite other communities to join in. Emergency management I work on. I see Kathleen Silva sitting right back there, our new emergency manager. We had a tabletop, let's be serious. It was supposed to be on wildfire in Marion County, and you know that can happen, but we changed it to be current and talked about, I'll say it wrong, coronavirus and pandemic. And a couple of things I get out of it. We always worry about earthquakes, and Kathleen tells us it's the same, kind of same except for wash your hands if it's the flu going around, but have a 2-week supply of food and water, primarily water, and a plan to reconnect with your family after. And I think that needs to be stressed at all times. But what was reassuring to me is to find out our health department. I saw you earlier, it's fine. I like you, there you are. They've been working with, I assume, I didn't hear the CDC, but people that know, watching trends, movement, best practices. So just know we're already looking. I hope it doesn't come to that. It's always been, I'm the Chicken Little of Marion County. It's always been my fear, and I don't want it to happen. Timber. Marion County was involved in 3 lawsuits and won them all this year, 2 with BLM and 1 with State Forests. And I'll just kind of sum them up. We won because the federal government has to follow the law, the ONC Act of 1937, and the state has to follow their agreement concerning our forests. What it probably means is probably more harvest in the forest, jobs, some more timber, forest management, that's a big one, and revenues for local government, so I'm pretty happy. Doesn't mean it won't be appealed, but I think we're in good shape. Let's see, we're to that point. This is my last thing. I don't know quite where I'm going to go here. Kevin gets nervous when I start to rant. And I'm going to. Let's just start. Let's just say that I didn't hurt anybody. But I've had a roughly 2-decade fight with the Department of Land Conservation and Development. And I want you people to be aware of them. And perhaps people that follow me to be aware of them. But it starts out as mayor sublimity. We just proved our comprehensive plan, and they were there telling us that a city gets to create their town in their vision. Growth will happen, but be controlled, preserve farmland. All sounds good to me, but my Oregon State economics life says the market's supposed to decide all that, but I gave and said fine. But then 10 years goes by. It's time to what's the right word, Brandon? comprehensive plan, a periodic update. You love that? Terrible. Anyway, now I find out that they've changed. It's pretty obvious that their real goal is that every town is the image that they set. And their whole philosophy is to cram as many rats into a given space as you can and convince them they're happy. And I reject it. They get into transportation using their political and legislative contacts. And suddenly they're telling ODOT where roads go to go. Shouldn't it be this way? Shouldn't transportation planning mean that you take people from where they are and to where they want to go, or their goods and products? Shouldn't that be what it is, instead of telling people this is where you go and this is how you leave? I just resent it very much. And now, the worst one, they've decided they need more power. In a letter from the government, they want the same authority as DEQ. They want to get in on this CO2 bandwagon. And I thought I was beating them, Kathy. You know, you've watched me. I thought I was dragging my feet and doing good, and we're not going to be imposed. Well, they've got us now. And it's blackmail. And if the governor's letter says if you want to get your periodic plan, your traffic plan's approved, state, federal money's coming through for your projects, you will sign this. Oh, now I'm stuck on the word, I hate it, climate action plan. And a basic part of that climate action plan and what we're supposed to report to the governor is a plan to remove 25% of the drivers coming through Salem-Kaiser. I don't want to be part of that. My job's to make it easier on the average guy, not make it harder. And if you don't do it, they finally got me. I told them 3 years ago that Marion County won't be in compliance for 3 years. Well, you can figure out why I chose that date. There's 11 months late, and I don't see how we're going to lick it. So all I can ask is I want people to be aware. Let me tell you one more thing about this group before I quit. DLCD, you don't vote for them. You don't pick them. You can't get at them. You probably don't even know who they are. They're appointed by the governor, but I note that they go through administrations. It's too much power. It's a dictatorship, and people need to watch it and watch for it and trim them off. If ever Republicans come back into power again, pass it on to them. Trim this group back. Let Oregon go and just live the lives they choose, not what they do. Now, I can get lighter. That's over. Did you do all right? I'll wind it up now. Last year, okay, I had the most brilliant idea in my 16 years. I'd even say 17 years now. If you were here, the basic idea was taking care of this climate change. What we do, so tax and swindle, that's the reality, because I said what it really means is what they're looking for is wealth redistribution, revenue generation, control, and a symbolic statement that we tried. So I told them I got a better idea. We can do the same. We'd all get out on a hot day, blow into the wind, and we'd have just as much effect. It wouldn't cost anything, and we can say we tried. I thought that was... No, it's the best ever, but I don't know what happened. I don't know, maybe, Kevin, you got the context. Nobody got the governor. Maybe she didn't find out. So this year I want to ask it. We're going to do it kind of a grassroots on a smaller scale, because it goes back to the garbage burner people telling you that carbon dioxide released over a slower period of time is better. So you can do this anytime. When you think of me, do this for me. I think we'll do it right now. I just want to. So here's how it goes. Just take a good sized breath, not overly deep, a good breath, and hold it for a second, and then let it out slowly. Can we just do that? Go ahead. And slowly, controlled. You know what? I think it's better. Uh-oh. Same event. Somebody has bad breath.
Onions in the salad.
Anyway, just try that once in a while. Do your part. Doesn't cost anything. Just as effective. Oh, would have been better, you know. What else did I have? Oh, I'll do. I thought Nancy Pelosi might show up and tear this up for me, but so really, thank you. I finally struck you. So again, thank you. Thank you for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it. Goodbye.
Sam, I am gonna miss you, but you sure know how to go out on top. This is a time of tremendous opportunity in Marion County. By just about every measure, Marion County is one of the best places to live in America right now. Unemployment is 3.2%, the lowest in modern history. Job growth is booming. Last 10 years, we've added 30,000 new jobs. We now have the highest record number of jobs ever recorded in Marion County. And at a time when it seems like nobody anywhere believes that any government doing anything is doing it well, a recent scientific survey by DHM showed that 56% of people here in Marion County believe we're on the right track. And optimism is even higher among our young people. 67% of people under 35 think we're heading in the right direction. 8 out of 10 residents are satisfied with our county services. Since 2010, Oregon's been one of the fastest growing states in the country, and Marion County's been one of the fastest growing counties in Oregon. And as you all know, we have an incredibly diverse economy. We have public sector jobs, agriculture, mining, logging, construction, manufacturing, education, healthcare, services, hospitality, retail, wholesale, professional, business, financial, and that's just a few. We're not overly dependent on any one industry or company, and that's a real strength. And it's something that we at the county are committed to supporting. This last year, we were the first county in Oregon to implement a rural industrial tax exemption, where we help businesses who invest in rural Marion County. We've made targeted investments in our infrastructure, including investing in rural broadband, so our farmers have access to real-time data on world markets. And through SEDCOR, recently we supported the formation of an angel fund to provide a platform for private investors to learn more and invest in new businesses right here in Marion County. And this is important because we have a young population. The majority of our people are younger than 40. At a time when most countries and states are looking at a rapidly aging population, we have an up-and-coming generation that's going to lead us into the next half of the century. And our school district and Chemeketa Community College have invested significantly in career and technical education for this generation. We have jobs for our young families. This means that kids who grow up here don't have to move away to start families or their careers. But all this has put pressure on our housing prices. As a result, our homeownership rate has dropped. It was 64% in 2000, and it's 59% today. And this is troubling. Of the 10 states that have grown the fastest since 2010, last year Oregon built the second fewest number of homes on a population-adjusted basis. So we started the Marion County Housing Initiative and streamlined our permitting process to ensure that builders can get their projects through as quickly as possible. And I want to take a moment and thank our Public Works Director, Brian Nicholas, who's here today, for his leadership in this effort. He's done tremendous work revamping the department over the last year, and he's leading the charge to develop a single storefront for permitting at Marion County with Brandon Reich. Where's Brandon? Thank you, Brandon. I'm also happy to announce that we have the lowest SDCs of any jurisdiction in Marion County. We've also seen a revitalization of our downtown here in Salem. With that revitalization, as you all know, we've faced challenges with homelessness and poverty. But I want to give credit to Salem Mayor Chuck Bennett, who's here today, and our police chief, Jerry Moore, for their leadership on this issue. And I also applaud the City of Salem for their HRAP program, and the Union Gospel Mission for their shelter expansion, and the United Way for their Safe Sleep Initiative. Just between these organizations, they're providing shelter to over 500 of our homeless neighbors. I also want to urge the Salem City Council to stay on course. Please don't bring camping back to Salem. As a county, we've partnered with Polk County, City of Salem, and many other cities in our region to form our own local continuum of care. This organization, which has been approved by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, channels federal dollars to address homelessness right here in Salem. Last year, Commissioner Cameron and I traveled back to Washington, D.C. to meet with agency representatives to make our case as to why Marion and Polk County should get their own continuum of care. And I'm happy to say that with Janet Carlson's help, HUD approved our application in a week, which has got to be the fastest that any federal agency has ever moved in the history of this country. But with all this progress, challenges still remain. As Commissioner Brentano explained, and Commissioner Cameron explained, we're going to have some big decisions to make when it comes to our waste management system the upcoming year, and additionally our jails at capacity. Over the next year, we're going to develop a plan to add jail beds so that our community will remain a safe place to live, work, and play. And we have Commissioner Brentano's leadership to thank for that. I'm going to call them Sam's beds. And on a personal note, Commissioner Brentano, I want to thank you for all you've done for our county over the years. I've learned in serving with you that despite your gruff exterior, you have a deep love for Marion County and for all of us who live here. And one of the things I admire most about Commissioner Brentano is his humility. Over the last year, I've come to realize how many good things exist in Marion County because of Sam, and he never takes credit for them. Whether it's going against the grain by taking stands against policies that he knows are going to hurt working families in our community, making sure that Marion County gets its fair share of infrastructure dollars, insisting on a balanced budget, or fighting for one of our employees who's 4 or 5 levels down on the org chart, Commissioner Brentano has been a steady hand at the tiller, and all of us have benefited from it, whether we know it or not. But you can be assured that we're going to continue to have a steady hand at the tiller. We're in a strong fiscal position. We have a balanced budget of $475 million, thanks to Jan Fritz and our finance department. We just stood up a new human resources department to serve our county, the 15 other departments in our county. And we have a culture committee that's working to ensure that Marion County is one of the best places to work in the state. And this cultural committee came about as a result of an audit we did to try to get feedback from our employees. And one of my favorite memories of my last year is standing in a public works meeting with our road operations crews. And there's about 50 to 100 of them, and they're hardworking men and women. And Scott Wilson, who's here today, he's up there in the front and he says, I got good news, we're going to work on improving our culture here. And without missing a beat, this guy from the back goes, I'll tell you what's wrong with our culture, it's those damn night shifts. And I thought to myself, well, at least we don't have any problem with employee feedback in this organization. The over 1,600 employees who work for Marion County continue to do honorable service in our community. And the position that we're in today is a testament to their work over the years. So I want to take a minute and thank all of them who are here today. If you're a Marion County employee, will you please stand up? As you can see, the state of our county is strong. Thank you.
If there's anyone who has a question, I'll be running around with a mic. Just raise your hand and I'll get it to you. Who wants to go first?
Sam told me I had to answer them all.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Good job. I knew I liked you.
So I have a startup, and I was wondering what opportunities that I have for startup development to stay in Marion County versus moving to Portland or San Francisco.
Well, that's a great question. This is the best place to live. Nobody wants to go to San Francisco, right? Maybe for a vacation to ride a cable car, but this is a great place to live and raise a family. I think SEDCOR, one of the things that we're working on, just so you know this, our lottery dollars, we don't totally fund, but between the city of Salem and us and the other counties, we fund SEDCOR. And one of the things SEDCOR is working on, Commissioner Willis and I attended a meeting not too long ago, about 3 weeks ago, on the fund, what do you call it, venture capital or seed fund. So there are some programs that are coming up to do that. I think the other issue is we do have an economic development department, and if you have some issues, Jason, you're here someplace. I know Danielle's here. I saw Danielle. Jason is back here, and Danielle was right here. Nick Harville. See Nick Harville. Where's Nick? So you can talk to any of those people, and they can talk about what some of the programs are. One of the things we did we're the first county to implement it, is the rural industrial tax deferral or credit. So if you're building something, an existing business, and you're going to invest, let's say, $4 million, we're going to defer your property taxes. Well, you got to go do some work, but there's a potential to defer those property taxes for 3 years. No other county's implemented that yet. Have you done it in Yamhill yet? You're getting ready to, but we've had 3 applications come forth. I hope that helps you, but there's some contacts out here. Wow.
So your economic development team changed its approach to small cities like Aurora, and instead of making us jump through a bunch of hoops to apply for grants, one of your guys who I just found out is departing, Cooper Whitman, came and said, hey, look, do this intergovernmental agreement. We'll give you guys $15,000 a year for the next 3 years. So my question to you is a softball. When are you guys going to come out and present us with a large check? So that I can notify the media and let them know about this photo opportunity.
Yeah. Jason, when do we tell Bill to show up and take a picture of us?
We have every city's calendar of city council meetings that we need to present to your office, so we can schedule.
Okay, so what you're referring to is we used to have these, people applied for grants and cities would apply for them, and Cooper came up with this great idea and presented it to the board. There's 20 incorporated cities in Marion County, the most incorporated cities of any county in Oregon. Each city is going to get $15,000 for the next 3 years. In addition to that, we're adding a bonus of $15,000 to each city in the canyon, because we used to have a grow organization, micro organization up there that we funded for $60,000. What they can do with it? Throw a going away party for you, right? So, well, it's economic development money, and they can use it for planning. They can use it for, for example, they can use it for matching grants. I know Mount Angel that did an infrastructure where you could do a facade grant, and they matched it. There's lots of things. So they basically are signing an agreement to report back and say what they're going to do. But what it does for us is it allows us to collect all these points of data throughout the county. That's going to be huge for businesses that want to come here and grow and do different things. And we'll have all kinds of information coming back in. And so it's a great program all the way around. We're not just handing out money and we don't care where it goes. Did you want to add to that? Okay. Yeah, it's the community decides that. In fact, I was at the Kaiser Chamber Government Affairs 2 weeks ago, and Nate from Kaiser came in with their list, Mayor Clark's here, with their list of what they thought they would do with their $15,000, and they presented it to their chamber and said, could you guys give us some ideas? So it's a community-driven issue. Chuck, what are you going to do with your $15,000? Okay, right. It's a small one for Salem, but for these smaller cities, it's a big, big deal for them. Great question.
Well, and I just want to add that as local government, oftentimes money is given with all these strings attached to it. And so the value we see is giving the power to the cities, not us telling you what to spend, what you need to do for economic development, but you telling us these are our priorities. So.
And you can't spend it to sue us to stop the airport expansion. Oh my God, don't get me started. Sam?
Why did you do that?
Oh, we have a county to the north that is spending their tax dollars to sue, never mind, don't get me started, and a city that's spending tax dollars to sue.
You just laid out everything was so good and you're talking about suing it.
Well, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. Let them sue. Let them waste their money.
I just had a question about you talked about the Donald interchange. I was just wondering if there's a plan in place regarding the Brooks interchange.
Well, you could do it again. You spent more time on it. Go ahead.
What's happening in Brooks Hotmere in that area, we are, again, economic development. I think we're getting really close to having this results of a survey to see what people need and infrastructure in that particular area. We've worked with May Trucking and some of the other people, so that's a longer term project. But what we want to know first is our planning, and Brandon can explain this to you, our economic development people. We want to know what people think that place should look like. And you think about it, on one side of the freeway, our haulers operate a MRF. They're more than doubling the size of the MRF, which is a material recycling facility, so we can get more materials out of our system. And then on the other side is the Marion Covanta plant. So we have a stake there too. And then you've got lots of development going on in that area. So that interchange will be, as soon as we get Donald Aurora, it's on our list. Cordon Road is on our list. Cordon and 22. Think about all the truck traffic that's going to be fighting to get around there with Amazon and that development. And we're with Salem on that. Salem's got it as a priority too.
May I supplement your response about Brooks? We also are working with Public Works, our Brooks Intermodal Group, and we have contracted to have plans drawn up so that at least the plans are in place so that if there's an opportunity for federal grant money, the plans will have been prepared to improve both of the exit ramps from I-5 onto Brook Lake Road, to widen Brook Lake Road from River Road to at least I-5, to improve the intersection of River Road and Brook Lake Road, and to do more. But Public Works in Marion County has been wonderful at cooperating with us, and we've worked with a private engineering firm to put this together, and I just got the plans yesterday. But I wanted to let you know that we appreciate what Marion County has done to encourage that, and we know that you have to be prioritizing your resources. Federal grants may be a way to help us in Brooks, and we'll keep working on that. And I really appreciate what the county has done.
Thanks, Kevin. No, anybody else?
Time for one more.
You guys have mentioned waste energy facility several times and potential legislation that might limit that facility. As a Marion County Master Recycler, if anybody wants to take that program, I highly recommend it. Having visited Covanta, I question things like dioxin and furon fallout. That's been studied around the farmland, but has anybody studied carbon sequestration as an alternate solution to carbon limitations to that facility?
So you heard Sam's answer, no, not to that facility. But I asked a question of some legislators just last week, said, what is your alternative to just saying no? And there is some really good information out there about carbon sequestering, growing trees. I think, Sam, you talked about blowing. If we just went all and grew, how many trees are in the world, Commissioner? 3 trillion trees in the world. So, trees take out carbon. I mean, we all learned that when we were in elementary school, I think. You plant a flower and it takes the carbon dioxide that we use. So, what I will say about that, because tomorrow Sam's going to be presenting at the Salem Chamber. I will be testifying tomorrow at 1 o'clock in committee on that particular bill. What I will say about that is if you want to Google NASA carbon California, carbon dioxide California, you're going to see a study that NASA just did. And you're going to hear, and you'll see it I think in the newspaper sometimes, you're going to hear supposedly what a polluter that our facility is. Everything that comes out of that facility is measured, everything. And that's one of the things you can't do in a landfill. And if you look at DEQ, the Quality Air or Clean Air Act, it's on the list for DEQ to go and do all that research coming up. And that's going to be taken care of. But above Covanta on the list are 2 landfills. And you can't measure all the methane, which is how many times more? 30 to 90 times more potent than carbon that's coming out of that facility. So the other thing is we're using the ash that comes out of there for daily cover at Coffin Butte instead of dirt. We're recycling all the metal that's coming out of there. If you just took that garbage down to Coffin Butte, that metal's going into the landfill, and who knows when my grandkids are going to start drinking the water that metal's leached into. So we know what's going in and we know what's coming out, and that's one of the positives, but it also is a negative because people will attack you on that.
I'm actually going to steal this from Commissioner Cameron, but one of the things that we've learned too throughout this process is when it comes to carbon dioxide and CO2, the production is actually more of a driver of greenhouse gases than the disposal. As Commissioner Cameron said, at disposal, you're kind of left with a few bad options, sort of like landfill, or, do you do waste for energy, or but on the front end, if we're able to work on how we produce materials, that's where we can really make a lot of progress in reducing our CO2.
Yeah, there's a DEQ video out that they actually produced. If you go to buy coffee, you're going to get three choices. One's the Folgers red plastic deal. The other one's a metal tin can, right? And then the last one is a bag. Which one do you buy that has the least carbon or the least energy to make it happen? It's the bag. But people think, well, I can recycle the aluminum can, but it takes a lot of energy on the front end to do that. So we have to really work on the 3 R's, and the first one is reducing. And I just share the story, and then I'll be done. My spice rack, right? So recently I bought 20 glass jars, and you can go to Roth's, or you can go to your favorite store, and you can buy spices in bulk, and you just replenish those jars. And now you don't have to have all these plastic or glass jars. I mean, that's a little thing that, what can we do as individuals on the front end to reduce what we're using? And then reuse. And the last thing is recycle, and then everything else is going to a landfill or someplace like waste energy. And it powers 9,000 homes. PGE, thank you. They purchase that electricity. It's a city of the size of Woodburn. Generate electricity for that. Wow. We good? Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we got to go back to work.
Let's give them a hand. Sassy Onion, Broadway Commons, thank you as well. And also, our next forum lunch is March 11th, and I'm trying to see if I can remember the title since they tore it up.
No, I didn't. Here you go, Nancy.
Strong Communities Build Strong Businesses. That's the title of our next forum. So we hope to see you again next month, and I thank you for taking time out of your day to come be with us today. Thank you.